All right, today we're diving into something pretty wild, a very specific and honestly incredibly detailed prophetic vision. It claims to map out humanity's immediate future, year by year, from 2025 all the way to 2032.
I mean, think about that for a second. What if you had a step-by-step guide to the final years? It's a compelling question, isn't it? Well, the prophecy we're digging into today claims to be exactly that.
Okay, so let's get into it. According to the source, this whole thing kicks off with a massive global event in 2025, spirals into a period of unbelievable chaos, and then comes to this dramatic final conclusion in 2032.
The entire vision is built around this 7-year period. You can see it's bookended by what it calls two harvests. Think of them as raptures. And it all culminates with the return of the king. We're going to walk through each phase one by one.
So, according to this prophecy, all of humanity, every single person, falls into one of these 6 categories. The source is very specific about Jews by lineage, meaning anyone who can trace their ancestry back, no matter what they currently believe. And as you'll see, the prophecy lays out a very different path for each group. Now, to keep all this straight, we're going to build out what the source calls a destiny chart. It's the best way to track what supposedly happens to each of these 6 groups at every single stage. We'll fill it out as we go along.
All right, here we go. The timeline kicks off in 2025 with the first huge event, a pre-tribulation rapture. This is the moment everything changes, and humanity is instantly split into 2 very different realities.
So here's the crucial first split. The prophecy claims that hot believers, the ones who are described as totally on fire for their faith, are raptured. But the lukewarm believers, those who are seen as too attached to the world, they get left behind. And this is where the prophecy takes a turn that is, frankly, shocking. It's not just about the living. This event has an absolutely massive consequence for almost everyone who has ever died. Get this, the source connects this event directly to our whole cultural obsession with the zombie apocalypse. It claims this is the moment that becomes real, predicting that all unsaved died from all of history will be physically resurrected in their old bodies, creating an instant global overpopulation crisis. You can probably guess what happens next, right? This mass resurrection throws the entire planet into absolute chaos. And this chaos kicks off what the prophecy calls a 3.5-year last chance period for every single person still on Earth. During this insane period, every non-believer faces this massive choice, a real fork in the road that decides their eternal fate. They can either convert and become a so-called tribulation saint, take the mark of the new global system, or just try to survive completely off the grid. And the mark of the beast isn't presented as some spooky, evil symbol. In this vision, it's actually offered as a practical solution, a tech upgrade to get food, safety, and stability in a world that has none. The price? Total allegiance. Now, right in the middle of all this mayhem, the prophecy says that exactly 144,000 Jews by lineage are sealed. This apparently gives them a kind of supernatural protection, so they can go out and preach their message during this incredibly dangerous time. Okay, so let's jump to the halfway point of the timeline. We're about 3.5 years in, and a second rapture event happens. But this one is for a very, very specific group of people. This second harvest is for the tribulation saints. These are the people who either turned their lukewarm faith red hot or were newly converted during that brutal first half. The source also makes a point to say that most of this group will have actually been martyred for their new faith before they're taken. After that second group is gone, the prophecy says the world plunges into its darkest, most violent phase yet. It's a final period of judgments that the source just calls the terror. And here's another one of those wild pop culture analogies the source uses. The final armies are literally described as being like the orcs from Lord of the Rings, and they march on Israel. But they're not alone. They're joined by long-hidden mythical beasts and giants that are finally unleashed on the earth. To really wrap your head around the scale of this final period, look at these numbers. The source calculates that for certain prophecies to be fulfilled, an average of 6 million people would have to die every single day. It's just a staggering figure. So this entire horrifying timeline finally comes to a head in 2032, at the exact moment when humanity is on the absolute ragged edge of wiping itself out completely. And just when it seems like it's all over, the prophecy describes this epic, last-minute rescue. A supernatural army made up of Christ and all the saints who were raptured returns to Earth to defeat the forces of darkness and save the very last human survivors in Israel. And here it is, the whole thing, the completed destiny chart. Just take a second to look at it. This is the entire prophetic roadmap, all in one place. You can trace the journey for every single group, from the hot born again who are gone at the very beginning, all the way to the unredeemable who face the final terror. It's a distinct path for everyone, all mapped out from 2025 to 2032.
You know, in the end, whether you believe a single word of the specific timeline isn't really the point. Its level of detail is just fascinating. It brings up a much bigger question, doesn't it? In a world that feels so uncertain, why are we, as humans, so drawn to creating these incredibly detailed maps for the future? Maybe it's just a powerful need to find some kind of order and meaning in the chaos. Something to think about. Thanks for watching.